Hello guys and welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be talking about the new game mode that dropped the other day, which is now gone and irrelevant, the Gold Rush Duos mode. Now the Gold Rush Duos mode was a mode based on the normal World Edge map, where you and one other player will drop into the map and all the guns that you pick up are gold. So that can be your golden variant G7, Eva 8, what's your one on the flatline, and on top of that you can get the care package weapons and pretty much pick them up off the floor. So it's a normal-ish format. By that there's still 60 players, so instead of 20 squads of 3 it is 30 squads of 2. So that's all good, can't complain at that. And yeah, this is part of the Grand Soriee event, which is going to have multiple different game modes, which is good for you because that's multiple different modes I get to review. So I'm going to be a very busy person over these next few weeks while this event runs. So let's talk about what's good about it. Let's get the positives done first, because there's more of them to do. So Duos makes a return, and it's a great take on the Duos mode to boot, in my opinion. I feel as if they could have just brought Duos back and people would still have been happy, but the fact that they gave it a creative take is what Respawn's all about. Respawn always does this kind of thing where you think, oh, how is this going to be special, how are they going to make this different, and they'll always do it. Always do it. It's chaos at all stages of the game as well. So yeah, as soon as you land, people are going to be pinging you off the map, or you're going to be pinging people off the map, and it's like that throughout the entire phase. It's not like a quiet phase where there's after your skirmish at the pardon me, after your skirmish at the start. It's just go all the time usually if you land in a normal location. It's an equal playing field, so when you drop, you're not going to have any better or any worse equipment than someone who's landed in a typically low loot area zone. That's just to say that people could, like say, both have Krabers and they could be landing in completely different areas. The only thing that's really going to change is what level of armor you get, but with how powerful some of these guns are, that doesn't really matter. What I do like about this as well is that you do get some very unique fights. So you can say, for example, there's 3 squads fighting. That's actually just one more than a normal squad, so it kind of changes the dynamic of how the fight goes. So usually a third party would be quite popular, but it feels a bit more like a free-for-all, as everyone's just shooting everyone, and it's insane, and I love it. What was bad about it then? So there was no power scaling. By that I mean that you're not going to drop into the map, you're not going to pick up your white armor and your Mozambique and climb your way to being an absolute god by the 5 squads left stage. There's none of that. Everyone's pretty much going to be a god within a minute of landing. Providing that you can find a blue level armor, you're pretty much set, because like I say, all these gold guns are going to be everywhere. For the guns that aren't a care package weapon, and the care package weapons themselves, there is limited ammo, so weapon isn't as frequent as a drop for those standard weapons, which is a problem because sometimes you can find yourself about to drop into a big fight and only have 80 bullets for a flatline, which isn't ideal. I found shotgun ammo was the scarcest ammo to find, so if you want to run around with that Eva 8 on double tap, which does swallow ammo, you're going to have a hard time actually finding that ammo, so you're better off with the Mastiff. Those only got the 12 shots, I believe, or 16. I think it's a 12 though. But yeah, it's one of those where ammo's not really kind to you, so to speak. And another thing for me is that there's no value in the weapons. There's no value in the weapons at all for me, so usually the whole point of having a gold gun is that you know it is going to be stronger, if not as strong as what everyone else has got. Even if you go up against a fully kitted out Peacekeeper, you know the Mastiff has the potential to absolutely crap all over that. But with this, there's no point in having the gold gun because everyone else has got the gold gun, so therefore it's not a legendary rare item if everyone has the legendary rare item. So there's no power spike, so like usually if I pick up a Mastiff, I can just go and absolutely lever people providing that they don't have a Mastiff of their own. But in this one, obviously everyone's going to have those high powered weapons. Obviously the same goes with the Kraber against the longbow or G7. Like, if I have that Kraber, I know I am going to ruin the day of someone who's trying to ping me off with a longbow, and that's, you know, now that I know someone else has got the longbow, it is no value in having, sorry, not the longbow, the Kraber. There's no value in actually having that Kraber, which is a bit of a shame. To be fair though, that's kind of part and parcel of the game mode, and I do think it does make it unique, and I do think in general that the good things do outweigh the bad things. This game mode does have a bit of a meta, so since you're going to find high tier weapons all the time, a lot of people tend to land safe, pick kills, move on, and not camp, but just pick off kills as well, taking fights where they want. Obviously, the aggressive teams are going to slightly struggle to be aggressive because everyone's got the same weaponry as them. So it's with the naturally higher time to kill, people who run into a house expecting to like rush people could easily get picked off by a headshot mastiff right in the lips. So yeah, I find that there's a lot more Phoenix kits as well. Obviously, if you got say 175 health, you get plucked by one shot, which is typically 150. Well, in that range. Then you're going to, I think it's 145 actually, but you're going to need to Phoenix up straight away. So gold armor, and that's essential for that as well, to heal up quick. Phoenix kits, med kits, and shield batteries, of having lots of them, like I mean lots, like 2-3 phoenixes, 6 med kits, 6 shield batteries on top of the normal cells and syringes. Having as many healing items as possible is massively important here, because you're going to be losing a lot of health very quickly as opposed to the normal game modes. Yeah, so as mentioned, more grenades as well, so you can absolutely, since you're not picking up as much ammo for certain weapons, since you can't actually hold ammo for certain weapons, picking up grenades as well is going to be a bit more viable for you, already more so than it is. Didn't actually tend to see many Watsons in this game mode as well, so having loads of grenades is going to be even more viable than usual too. But apart from that, you do have the usual legend meta, obviously aside from the third, which is usually a Watson in higher levels of play. But there's usually bigger champions going around. Obviously Gibraltar had a buff, and Gibraltar was quite popular in this mode because that gun shield can eat a Kraber shot. So yeah, so even if it does 144 damage or whatever it is, the shield's going to take that, because one shot, it's just the shield that eats that and doesn't get passed on to Gibraltar, which is a massive advantage I felt. Although personally I stuck with Caustic. I quite enjoyed having the extra health. I thought it did make a difference, and of course he's got those gas attacks as well, which are very useful, particularly late game or when you're trying to camp out because you're under pressure from 3 different teams. High tier armor is absolutely crucial as always, so any purple or golden armor is going to help you massively here, mainly because you'll be able to survive just a couple more shots. You'll not be picked off as easily as what you usually would be, and I think that is obviously always to be favoured. And obviously if you've got that gold armour, you're going to be healing it with those Phoenix kits, as I mentioned, much quicker. Now you pair that on top of a Gibraltar shield, which is healing you quicker anyways, and you've got a recipe for being absolutely OP. There are gold loot boxes everywhere, so usually you can tell what someone's got just by the colour of their loot box. So if you know that you need purple armour, usually if it's purple you can go in there, but more often than not you're going to get misled because it's going to be gold. But you go into the box and it's like a 3-bullet Kraber. So all the loot boxes are gold, so it doesn't actually help in that regard, but that's fine. That's to be expected. But I found it more interesting than out else. But yeah, let's go into the opinions. So these are neither good nor bad in my point of view, but they will be perceived as either good or bad depending on people's playstyles. So the first one is that there is a much quicker time to kill. Obviously with weapons that are doing 145 damage, the time to kill is going to naturally be a lot higher, and that in truth goes with the Mastiff as well, or the either a double tap or the G7 double tap. You're going to be burning through people's health dead quick, as opposed to usual. It's a duo format with gold guns instead of a trio. Personally, I actually think that the duo format with gold guns is better than having trio, because the last thing I could imagine is being pinged off by 2 Krabers at once, then a guy rushing in from Mastiff on the same team. I think that would be a bit too much. So I do think that Respawn have got the right balance there in doing that with the duos, but like I say, that's an opinion. You might agree with that, you might prefer it to be a trios, much like the time to kill. You might like the fact there's a quicker time to kill, you might not. Feels a bit more like Call of Duty. But you know, some people will like that, some people will not. It's not really for me to say. I'm not personally bothered. Whatever changes the game up and freshens it up is a good thing for me. And the other opinion is that this launched with a balance patch, mainly the one to bolt to Gibby, where he can now quick revive inside his dome as well, and I believe Rave got a few nerfs as well. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this game mode a 6.5 out of 10. It's not my favourite, not going to lie, but I do feel as if it's solid enough. I don't feel as if it's a bad game mode, and like most of Respawn and Apex Legends' limited time game modes, I think it's solid, a fresh change of pace, and something to be enjoyed by everyone. Give it a go, and yeah, that's pretty much the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. Also subscribe while you're down there, and if you're a fan of these one-take videos where I just briefly talk over something, or you prefer the scripted one that we did last time, which I'll pin now, then let me know in the comments below, and we'll pick a theme. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next one. Take care.